Can I have everyone's attention? We'll go ahead and continue our availability here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We're now joined by Kevin Harvick, driver of the number 29 Budweiser Chevrolet, currently fourth in points with 2 wins thus far this season. Kevin, talk a little bit about coming into New Hampshire this weekend.
Yeah, we're excited about the way that the season has gone up until this point. Obviously, we know we have to come back here and race, for the chase. So obviously, this is an important weekend to kind of evaluate, where we are with our short track program. Flat tracks are a big part of the chase. So I think this is an important weekend to fully understand what we need to do going forward. So we'll see.
Okay, we'll open up for questions for Kevin. We'll go Melinda, Claire, and Mark. Got a mic over here, right beside you, Melinda.
Melinda Adams, ESPN. Just talk about how excited you are that Budweiser is going to follow you to Stewart-Haas.
Yeah, obviously it's nice to officially end all the speculation about numbers and teams and as far as the sponsorship, obviously we've had 3 years with Budweiser and looking forward to moving forward with them as a sponsor. So it's been an interesting process just for the fact that we really haven't been involved in much of anything on the sponsorship side of it, just for the fact that when we did the deal with SHR, we were knowing that we had to move forward for a year here, and we wanted to make sure that we did a good job with RCR. So it's nice to be able to be in a position to not have to go out and be a part of that whole process and be able to focus on racing the car and getting the performance and doing the things that you need to do at RCR. So it's worked out well, and those guys at SHR took full responsibility to have the car funded, and that made my life a lot easier.
Okay, we'll go Claire, Mark, and Bob. Go ahead.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. I have 2 quick questions. The first is, why make that move now that it's official? Why was the move made? Was it a Budweiser deal? Was it you deciding we're going to go and then Budweiser would come?
I signed a deal with Stewart-Haas Racing, and everybody was pretty sensitive to the fact that we still had another year, and I think for those guys to take the responsibility and say, if we don't find the sponsorship, the car will be on the racetrack and be funded. So I think there's something to be said about having that guarantee of money behind the car and be able to be on the racetrack, and for me with kind of the transition and wanting to do a good job this year, and they were very sensitive to me wanting to be competitive on the racetrack. I think it was important for both sides to have the 29 car be competitive and winning races and doing the things that we've been able to do this year. So it was just part of the deal. I mean, we didn't want to be involved in it. We wanted to make sure that we finished our role at RCR in a positive note, and so on the sponsorship side. I hadn't even met any of the guys at SHR. The deal was it was done between my guys and Tony's guys, and honestly, I think Tony and I had maybe 2 conversations about it. So it was just something that we knew we wanted to do, and we left it up to our people to try to make it all work. And it'll be interesting to finally meet all those guys and see how it all went down and understand it all. So it's been a different process, but we both knew that that's what we wanted to do.
And a quick follow-up. Budweiser, one of the premier sponsors in the sport, because it's not like you're swapping sponsors all the time. They get you out and about quite a bit. They do a lot of promotion. What does that mean to be the Budweiser, sponsorship driver for your role as a driver in the sport?
Well, it's obviously a great brand, and to be a part of the brand has been a lot of fun, and to see the activation and things that come with that are fun to be a part of, and that's what they do. They not only do they sell beer, but they activate like nobody else, and to be a part of that is not only good for your brand, but it's good for everybody who's involved in it.
Okay, we'll go Mark, Bob, and Reed.
Mark Arrow, PRN. Kevin, why make this announcement now? We've got. Are you doing it now because?
I have no idea why they did it now.
Well, you have some time before the chase. RCR settle into their deal and it lets the air out of this story before you get to the chase? Do you think that's why you guys have done this so early?
Well, I think it's, it seems like it's going to work out that way, to kind of get it all over with and in the speculation. And I think a lot of people, asked, why tell the team so early last year, and it let a lot of those emotions get out of the way, and everybody went about their business as we went to Daytona and raced the car. And I think that's paid off. So I think, hopefully the timing kind of eases it for both sides to kind of go about their business as the chase gets here and over the next few weeks.
Real quick.
Are you confident that RCR is going to be okay losing a driver, losing a sponsor, and you feel confident they'll just roll on?
Well, from my standpoint, Richard and I talked about how we wanted to approach it at the end of the year. From a sponsorship standpoint, I honestly don't even know what to tell you on that side of it. So it's it's nice to be able to go through this transition period, and by the time we shut the teams down and you redo from a financial plan to a family plan to a new job, it's going to have taken almost 3 years by the time we roll off at Daytona to have everything have transitioned into the business model that we will be executing in 2014, whether it be from the racing side or the KHI side. There's been a lot of talks and a lot of plans and a lot of things that have had to take place as we've tried to make our businesses what they need to be going forward on the management side or the racing side with changing teams. So there's been a lot of thought and a lot of things that go into it to make all this happen.
Okay, we'll go Bob, Reed, and Mike. Bob, right here.
Bob Hocker, Sporting News. Did you talk to any other teams? How long's the deal? And why is Stewart-Haas a better place for you?
Well, I think, for me, the Stewart-Haas piece was intriguing just for the fact that, you have Tony as a teammate who's been a big part of what we did at KHI to help us get it started. We have a friendship that goes, beyond the racetrack. And I think, obviously Gene Haas makes it very intriguing with the guarantees that he made to make the deal happen, to put the car on the racetrack. And when you start, when you have a family and you start seeing those guarantees of sponsorship, for the car, it makes you think about things. And oops, I think I went there. Okay. And I think obviously, so not only those two pieces, but I think that the Hendrick tie with the engines and the support, understanding that, I think the potential is really high. So with all those resources and relationships and things that go with it.
Did you talk to anybody else? Did you talk to any other teams, or was this?
Gosh, it's been a while. Well, obviously, there was a couple different scenarios involved in it.
Okay, we'll take our next question up front with Reed.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. First of all, can you talk about the choice of the number 4?
I think that the 4 is just something that fits with the 14. The number was something that I don't want to say I didn't really matter to me because, but it's something that you want to see consistent with the team and the things that they have going on. So that was a number that was available and seemed like just a pretty common tie to the 14.
And secondly, you're coming in here with a string of eight straight top 10 finishes. Do you think with the new car that this may be a chase that can be won with consistency, or do you still think you're going to have to win races?
I think we're going to have to win races and have the consistency. You saw Carl and Tony race for that championship, and winning and consistency met head to head, at Homestead, and winning won. So, I think as you look at the significance of winning, I think that kind of puts an exclamation point on it. And I think you're going to have both to be able to have a chance at it. But we have to get better to beat the 48.
Okay, we'll go Mike in the back, then Lee and Dustin.
Kevin, given your background as an owner as well, driver owner, I mean, what allure did it have to have your owner also be a driver and the guy that, you know, you could kind of lean on in the times when you guys are sorting things out? And what about Tony amazes you, you know, all that he has to handle, the teams that he's, you know, built, you know, owning a track, being a promoter, being a driver. I mean, how in your mind does he handle it all?
Yeah, he definitely has a lot going on, and you know, being on the ownership side, you know, you see, you know, I know that one of the biggest things we fought were from a team owner standpoint was finances and being able to take something to the next level. You know, costs money, and that's one thing that, you know, it seems like you know, we're going to have that outlet to be able to, when we get in a bind and need to change things or find things or test or do the things, it doesn't, you know, it's there. And you know, when you add the sponsorship to it, you know, I think you know, there's just there's a lot of pieces that the potential is really high. I feel like I can help enhance the program, and I feel like our relationship is going to help progress things as they move forward with directions of the company on the performance side. So, you know, Tony balances a lot of things, and you know, I've been in that boat, and we've eliminated a lot of things, and I think it's going to allow me the time to help him, you know, really balance this part of his professional life and be able to make it better.
Okay, Lee, Dustin.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. After watching what Matt Kenseth did with his team next year, and given the integrity that Gil Martin has, do you expect to have a similar run like he did? And what can you say that Gil and RC have meant to you over the course of your 13 seasons at RCR?
Well, I think you talk about the integrity of the whole situation. I don't think it's, you know, I don't think it's one single person. I don't think it's myself. I don't think it's Gil. I don't think it's Richard. You know, I think everybody has kind of latched on to, you know, the message that the three of us have fed him, that, you know, we're gonna go out and we're gonna race every week as hard as we can. And you know, I was sitting in a competition meeting for the chase with Eric Warren. With Eric Warren on Wednesday morning. So it's not like we've detached ourselves from what we're doing, and nobody, those guys on the team, they don't care about the politics of the sport. They just want to win races. They like spraying beer in victory lane, and you know, we're gonna, as a group, you know, we're gonna do that until we get to Homestead, and we'll start working on the future plans when that race is over.
Okay, Dustin.
Dustin Long, Motor Racing Network. Kevin, how do you assess what you guys have done this season, or where you are at this point? Obviously, the eight straight top 10s, you've been very consistent. Haven't been as flashy, per se, as Jimmy or maybe Matt at times, but you've outscored those guys during that point. So are you good with, do you feel comfortable with how you run, or do you feel like you've more taken advantage of mistakes or issues that they have had?
Well, I think, you know, we've made a lot of mistakes ourselves at the beginning of the year in situations where we probably had a chance to win more races. But we've also capitalized on situations when people have made mistakes. And I think for us, you know, in 2011 and even 2012, that consistency piece that we've always had was gone. It wasn't really there, and we were kind of looking for it. And this year, that consistency piece needs to get, you know, it has come back. And I think on the days when we've made mistakes or had something happen, we've been able to rebound, and nobody's getting wound up about it. We just go out and we try to overcome whatever situation has happened the best that we can to get the best finish that we can. So, you know, I feel like that consistency is back. I feel like we need to get better speed-wise, which is what, you know, what the 48 has made us all do over the last few weeks. His car's been extremely fast. And, you know, we know over the next 8 weeks that we need to get better to start the chase from a speed standpoint. But the consistency has been, you know, keeping us in the game, and we haven't made near as many mistakes over the last 10 weeks as we did in the first 8 weeks. So it's been going pretty good, and we know we have some things to work on, but you always do.
Okay, we'll go David, Kurt, Nate, Dan, and Kenny.
Yeah, Kevin, David Newton, ESPN.com. You talk about the consistency factor. Is that one of the reasons you decided to leave RCR? You feel like you weren't getting enough of that there, and you felt like you needed to find that somewhere else? And two, why isn't anybody talking about you as a championship contender with what you've done here this year with 2 wins and 8 straight top tens, and it's all focused on Jimmy?
You know, the decision to make a change was just from a standpoint of just needing to make a change from really a personal standpoint, just to kind of rejuvenate exactly what you're doing. And you know, I think you know, for me, the situation with Tony and having that relationship with a guy that is going to be sitting in the cars next to you and having that kind of teammate that has won championships and a team that has won championships in the last couple of years is something that you know, is just exciting. And then you add in the Hendrick support side of it. It's just, you know, there's a lot to draw from. So it wasn't anything personal from a Richard standpoint or a team standpoint doing anything wrong. It was just, you know, me needing to rejuvenate myself to get to the racetrack and really be excited to show up to do winter testing and the things that go with it, and not just in the same routine. So it's, you know, it's just like everybody else's job. Sometimes you just need a change to get going again.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Kurt, then go Nate, Dan, and Kenny.
Kurt Cavan from the Indianapolis Star. I look ahead just a little bit because this is my opportunity to ask you, what tells you that this car is going to be better performed, this car design will be better for Indianapolis, be a more entertaining race, and can you believe 20 years now at the Brickyard?
Yeah, it has been, I guess, 20 years at the Brickyard. But, you know, it's this car has been good pretty much, I'd say 98% of the racetracks that we've gone to see the race, and it seems like the strategy and things that come with this car for whatever reason really mix things up at the ends of these races. So I know that you know, seems like everybody's happy with the tire that Goodyear is bringing. You know, it's still Indy. You know, it's still you know, in my opinion, the second biggest race on the schedule, and you're going to be racing in Indianapolis. So it's the car's been fun to race, and the guys, you know, and myself, I think we all feel like we can drive the cars really hard, and you know, with those bigger spoilers and those long straightaways, you know, the draft could be pretty interesting to see going into turns 1 and 3. So should be a fun race.
Okay, Nate.
Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports. Just 2 quick ones. Just to clarify, I guess yes or no, did you have assurances then that Budweiser would go with you when you signed with Stewart-Haas, or was that sort of left up to whatever they were going to do after you made the decision?
Yeah, basically what happened was we decided that was you know, what we wanted to do from a team standpoint. We went to the team at SHR. We worked out my contract, and they basically guaranteed, you know, what the car would have on it on the racetrack, and they basically took full responsibility to figure out what direction they wanted to go from a sponsorship standpoint and how to make it go around. So it didn't have $1 of sponsorship when I signed the contract.
And you talked earlier about redoing your financial plan and how you've had a 3-year transition in the business model for next year. I saw that KHI signed a sponsor this week with you and Jeff Burton. Is that what you're talking about? Could you maybe just kind of expand on that? Is that the plan, to try to use KHI to help you find sponsorship for the car, for you, for other stuff going forward? Yeah, from the KHI management side of it, obviously we've got myself, you know, that they handle on a day-to-day basis. We've got Donald Cerrone in the UFC that we handle the things for him on a day-to-day basis, Jason Gore, and they help Jeff Burton with his personal sponsorship all year this year. So it's just kind of a direction that we thought we could manage our family and job, and you know, we have all the tools in place to put people under our wing, and also for us, it allows us more outlets as far as you know, the KHI brand and what they sell. Not only do you have a NASCAR program, but you have a golf program, you have a UFC program. So you can be a more well-rounded house for the sponsors if somebody doesn't like golf, or they don't like NASCAR, or they don't like the UFC. You have other things that most likely, you know, they have a good chance of liking. So for us, we can put together more unique programs from a sponsorship side of it and sales side of it
to go out and attract different sponsors to different sports.
Okay, Dan?
Dan Gelston, the Associated Press. Two quick questions. First, are your other sponsors coming at all? Reams or Jimmy John's?
Look, I have no idea. That was the intriguing part about the SHR piece of it was, the car is going to be on the track, and they said, you go do your job and finish your year and race the car as hard as you can and do a good job for Richard, and we'll worry about the rest of it. So it's kind of, one of the biggest intriguing parts of the whole thing was the fact that you don't have to worry about that part of it. You can not worry about chasing it. You can drive the car, spend time with your family, and hopefully they get it all worked out.
And I guess as a follow-up to something you said just now, you said you wanted to be excited again to show up during winter testing, things like that. What kind of sapped some of the enthusiasm from you over the last few years then to take that over?
I don't think anything's, taking the enthusiasm away. It's just like, when you show up to the same desk for 12 or 13 years, you're like, man, I need a new desk. And, or you need to change the pictures on the wall. It's just something where you just want a change of pace to do something. And that's really what it all boiled down to. One of the pieces that it boiled down to.
Take our next question from Kenny.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. Kevin, do you have any idea, crew chief wise or anything like that, will you have input into that? And also, you said, you've got to get better to beat the 48, and you mentioned that their car has been extremely fast. As a competitor, when you look at them, what do you see about them? What makes them good, do you think?
Well, I'm sure we'll sit down and talk about, crew chiefs and things, because obviously those will have to happen before we get to December. But we'll talk about a direction, and that'll be probably the extent of the conversation moving forward, so that everybody's sensitive to wanting to make sure that we do a good job this year at RCR, and they do a good job for their current situation. So the thing about the 48 is and I always used to tell my teams this is if you're comfortable winning races, somebody's going to come along and beat you, and then you're going to get behind. It seems like they win races, but they're constantly trying to get better, and they constantly succeed at getting better, and they never really get in that up and down rut. They're kind of the leader of pushing things forward, and I think even when things are going good, you can't just sit on your hands and say, we're doing pretty good right now. We don't need to try anything else to get better, and it doesn't seem like they ever do that. It's constantly. It seems from the outside looking in that Chad's a workaholic and dedicates himself to trying to find the next thing before everybody else, and it's paid off for him. And obviously, Jimmy does a great job in driving the car and giving the feedback to send Chad in a direction to help him find speed.
Okay. Any final question? All right. Bob, final real quick.
Bob Parker, Sporting News. Do you care that the teams that were found with spacers that weren't obviously conforming to some rule, that they weren't penalized?
You just informed me, Bob. I've had an interesting week, to say the least, with go-kart wrecks and things like that that have been going on. But I think when obviously it's a unique situation with so many teams getting involved. It would have been if it was something like something that was really going to matter. I think it probably would have been a different situation. But it sounds like it didn't even really matter. I didn't.
Kevin, thank you very much for your time, and we appreciate it today. Good luck this weekend.